Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
what are we doing today?
Well, today we are going to have a little tour of my styling accessory garage. Because a lot of people think this is a third garage, but really it's half a garage filled with shelves, which is my favorite thing. This is my styling room. All of my accessories. Not all of them, the rest of them are in the house, but the other half are here. One of the most important things about decorating any room is when the look and the feel arrives. You can have the most beautiful art, area rugs, end tables. You can have all of the basic pieces, but if you do not have vignettes on your mantels and tablescapes on your end tables and your coffee tables, the room still feels a little bit dead. So the basics of any tablescape in general are coffee table books, candles, and flowers. So let's talk about flowers first, because as you can see, I have a plethora of all kinds of fake flowers. All right, so before you get all bent and twisted about every house needing fresh flowers, first of all, I have a big house. And I love flowers and I want to have them in every room. Well, you need a florist in order to do that. So I have always fresh flowers in a couple different spots in my house, on my coffee table, beside my sink, in my kitchen. But everywhere else, I love to have a little floral arrangement. So I especially love to have a dramatic arrangement on my island. As you can see, if you've been following me, it went from spring florals to fall sunflowers to my Christmas arrangements. In the summer, I had these. Don't ask me what they are, okay? Oh, and then I also had these on the mantle. Fake florals have come a long way, so do not be afraid of pulling them out. And here's the other story that you need to hear about this world of fake flowers, okay? So one of my clients, I styled up her house. It was summertime. We did the photo shoot. Everything was beautiful. She had these vignettes and tablescapes everywhere. All was well. And then one day, about 3 years later, she called me and she goes, Maria, I feel like I need a change. Maybe I need a different, table in my entry. And I'm thinking, we just did her place 3 years ago, but okay. So I arrive at her house. She's taking me through the house. And as I'm looking around, what I noticed was I said to her, you have removed all of my vignettes. So what you're noticing, and the reason why you're feeling kind of blah, it was January when she called me over, that's why we're talking about lamps and accessories at this time of year, because once the Christmas tree goes away and the lights and all the atmosphere is gone. So I had a bunch of hydrangeas that I put in a low little vessel on her dining room table. Well, right? Summer came. And then we were in fall and Christmas, and obviously she's not going to have her hydrangeas sitting there anymore, right? So that's flowers. So what I would recommend is that you switch up your fake flowers seasonally so that you've always got a feeling of fresh in your house somewhere. And here's the thing, I have so many fake flowers that, sometimes I have these fabulous tulips that look so real. So when people bring me fresh tulips, well, I just take the vase of fake tulips, I put them in my accessory room, and I put out my fresh tulips until they die. Or I move them to another room in my house or another area, right? Because I've got a lot of space. Okay, so let's talk about candles next, candle holders. So, one day after, I've been styling for many years, I noticed that all I'd seemed to have were these quite inexpensive candlesticks from IKEA. And I'm looking at my candle holders thinking, why don't I have any candle holders? And then I realized I was being cheap about candle holders, because every time I'd go to pick one up and I'd look at the price, I'd be like, wow, $80, and I'd leave it in the store. So that's when I decided, you gotta have them. You gotta have candles. They add all the atmosphere, because guess what? They have a light. So for example, this range over here, I got these from Etsy, but they were $100 each. So it was $500 for this cute little curvy candle. And then one day I was reading one of my design magazines in House and Home, and I got these. They're from a shop in Toronto. These were also happened to be $100 each. But I mean, you know, this looks like a candle holder that was $100. Then I have a bunch of vintage brass ones that I've collected, you know, and then, you know, when I see candles that look like they're kind of nice, you know, these ones were $30 from HomeSense, right? You know, because here's what I do when I shop.
Okay, hold on. So you don't have to spend an arm and a leg then. Those were $30.
That's right, they were. But, you know, but I'm just saying that, like, you know, I think it's just interesting where people choose to spend their money, right? There are some things like that I'm sure you can relate to. There's some areas of like maybe it's fashion or shoes or whatever where you don't hesitate to drop the money because you love it and because it's fabulous. But suddenly you're like, you know, there's an area of, there's a hole, right? In your wardrobe there might be, or, you know, in your accessories. And there was a hole in my candle holders because I was being kind of cheap about the price.
And we can consider a collection too. They're beautiful. We're back to the collected beautiful items again.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. And, you know, certainly if you source, you can find all kinds of deals, I'm sure, like on Marketplace and stuff. But it was just kind of interesting that I just suddenly found myself with this hole of a major piece of a tablescape, I might add, right? Books, flowers, candle holders, right? Okay. So now, the other thing everybody needs, all right, vases. Now, as you can see, I have a big collection of vases. They're kind of everywhere here. Here, over here as well. And I also have more inside the house. I mean, you know, as you know, if you've seen my house, there's a lot of accessories in my house already that I have. And I have more built-in bookcases coming. So then there will be more places for more accessories, right? And then some of these are summer as well, right? Like this is a coral that I have sitting out on my deck in the summertime on the dining room table, right? That I got from Pottery Barn last year. Pottery Barn always has nice corals, but I collect corals because they're so beautiful sitting on top of a coffee table book, right? Okay, now about vases, right? Vases are a whole other accessory that everybody needs to have. Countless vases. I have just as many vases as I have candle holders, as I have flowers. Like I'm always buying new vases. The best ones are currently in the house, but something everybody needs, all right, is a tulip vase that looks like this. Because so many people will say things like, oh, Maria, like if you want to get your tulips to stand up straight, you put a penny in it, but you don't want your tulips to stand up straight. You want your tulips to kind of do this, and they're not going to do that in a straight vase. In a straight vase, they're going to fall over and break. So you want to have a tulip vase for tulip season.
Do you have like spare vases for the one time you want to bring a hostess gift and you want to put the flowers in a vase and just give her like one of your inexpensive
yes,
vases,
absolutely.
right?
I buy vases and I'll collect them thinking about that. And I also buy accessories. Like for example, I don't have any balls here right now, but like green balls, they're all in my house right now. When I see green balls, I'll buy them because I think, you know, they're always so expensive. So let me buy them, and then when I have a client and I need them, I'll just sell them to the client. But my accessories, they all turn into my children, and I don't actually end up doing that. Funny thing. Yeah.
Babies. So what about coffee table books and trays?
Yes. Okay. So I don't have any coffee table books here. Next week, I'll show you how to create a vignette and a tablescape. But trays are also really great because they corral small items. And so yeah, so here's one tray that I could put on a coffee table. But then again, you need books in it, right? Because the books are like a pedestal for all of, you know, what happens is a coffee table book turns a tchotchke and a knickknack into an accessory, right? That's the thing.
Right. It's not
because
just...
it provides this little elevated pedestal for it to sit on. So that's kind of cool. Now, the other thing, okay, is you'll notice that I have quite a selection of plant pots, okay? Because a little kalanchoe from the grocery store, how fabulous is that in a vase like this, sitting on a coffee table with some books, with some candles, right?
And
so
those
you
are
need to
super
have,
cheap
they're really
flowers.
cheap.
They're so cheap, but
I mean,
they're always in those ugly green pots, or
and they're in
covered
those ugly little like foil things, right? Yeah. Like I always remember my mom she would get mums, right? Her friends would come because back in the, I'm from the day when on a Sunday, suddenly your parents' friends would drive up with a house full of kids and there was a huge party. Nobody would call in advance to ask if they could come over. I'm from that age. But anyway, I watched many a potted plant from the grocery store sitting on mom's dining room table in that foil thing it comes in, right? And I always thought, oh, this is such a bad cheap flower, but no, not. And it elevates it immediately when you have a little vessel to put it in, right? So I have them in all kinds of colors. There's a yellow one here. This has actually gotten a bit dirty, but I had bought these from the Pottery Barn because I have them sitting outside on my patio in the summertime because I'm always looking at my patio from my living room, right? So I'd like to have a tablescape on it. So having all of these little vessels is really important. I also have seasonal accessories. Like here I have some Easter bunnies for when it's Easter time. I know, like I can't resist a cute face. So look at the little Bobo, like, lamb, right?
I love those.
So,
those are super cute.
That's right. So then they come out at Easter time, right?
Yeah.
And what else do I have here? So, lamps, okay. I kind of collect them. Like if I see a great lamp for a really great price, I'll just buy it. Like for example, this I found from HomeSense the other day. Like, look at this great little elevated looking. It was $80. It has this great little solid glass base, super cute, under like in your kitchen.
Have you traveled with any of these lamps?
Well, those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that I travel with 3 lights when I go to Airbnbs because, of course, nobody ever has enough lamps. So this one here, this one is already sitting in a plastic thing because this looks good anywhere, this little glass base.
It's kind of a big lamp.
Right, I know because sometimes you really need that at night for atmosphere. I can't live without them in a vacation rental. I can't. So that I also have a little small one because I'll stick one in the kitchen. Yeah. So that's the world of my lamps. And then pillows. I'm also like a pillow tramp as well as a lamp tramp. So I have lots of pillows. I never sell a sofa for a client without all the pillows that go on it because that's just like part of the vignette. I mean, to have naked sofas arrive with no decorative pillows, I mean, that's just sad. So, my workroom used to call me the pillow lady because nobody had more pillows made than me.
Wow. You have a lot of light bulbs.
I do. And I have a lot more in the house. So when Incandescents threatened to discontinue them, and well, they are discontinued now, I think you might be able to get them in Amazon in some places still. But I freaked out and bought like hundreds of dollars worth of incandescent light bulbs because they're actually better for your eyes. I mean, they don't have warning labels on them like LEDs do. However, we are in the world of LEDs now. So everyone's always asking me, what's the wattage? So first of all, you always want a frosted bulb, okay? So I have 60 watts and 40 watts, but pretty much I use the 60 watts everywhere. Sometimes you put in a 40. Let's say if you've got lamps that are flanking a picture in a fireplace. They don't need to be 60 watt kind of reading light bulb, right? So then you might put 40s in there, right? If you have a light and there's 3 lights, maybe you do 40s in those because you've got 3 lights in the actual fixture, right? So I have actually randomly bought light bulbs from IKEA, and I have found them to be actually equivalent in terms of warmth. So make sure you do get the warm one. So look, it says 40 watt. It's the equivalent of 40 watt. It's some kind of E26 light. But basically, you want to be in the world of 2600 Kelvin, right? The higher you go to like 3000, 4000, 5000 Kelvin in LEDs, well, now you're in a white light. Like you got an operating room. We don't want that. So that's the world of light bulbs.